What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 6th day of August today, and here we are. Oh, hold on. Here we are. Let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? Did I just do something? No, okay, we're good. Here we are at about $114.1 thousand with 11 hours and 27 minutes left in the day. A little bit of a reversal on the day so far. We've had a wick to the downside yesterday and today, and with what we've been doing recently, I think that we are in a rather bullish posturing here, you guys. Low to high, bouncing off the 382, literally bouncing off it yesterday, and then getting a wick like this today. This is a pretty good look. Okay, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but this is a pretty good look. I would at least think from here that we'd go to the 236. Now, that's the real test. Can we get above there? Can we get above the 236? And even here, let's see, from a high to a low, where's our golden ratio at? Golden ratio is all the way up at 118.7K. That'd be the next test, right? That would really help validate that this is the low, and that not only that, but once we get above there, we're thinking about new all-time highs, of course, right? I feel like that's very obvious. Oh, we're above 119,000. It's time to start thinking about new all-time highs. It's probably time to start thinking about new all-time highs right now. Some of you might be wondering, what happened to the downside? Aren't we going down? We could be going down still, and that's the thing too. We're in this kind of state of limbo where we very well could have found our low. Everybody's calling for us to go lower, and that really makes me think that we're not going to go lower. We had this big flash out. There wasn't a lot of volume coming in. I mean, there was volume. It was above average volume, but it wasn't like a lot of volume coming in. And we've eaten it back up. We've done the right things in the right places. Finding support at this 382 like this. I would just really like to see us get above the 236. If we can close a day above the 236, and probably just like this here, how we closed below the 382, and then the next day we closed above it, and that reversed the signal. What we need to do is close 2 days above the 236 before we really have conviction, and that's also why that golden ratio of this fib retracement might help out as well, because if we're closing above here, we likely will close 2 days above the 236. But I digress. All I'm trying to say is it's very possible that we could go lower still, lower from here, lower than this low. It's still possible, and that possibility diminishes greatly once we get a day to close above the 236, and even more so once it's 2 days above the 236. Okay. There's all kinds of significance in that area. 116.8K. This low daily close here, where we just found a ton of support right here, right? At 117.2K, and then of course the golden ratio there at about 118.7K. There's a lot of significance in this area, so really 119K and above would be very valuable. I mean, at that point, I like to say it like this sometimes, right? Let's go like this, high to low again. I'll draw it. This will be the last time that I draw this. Well, maybe not in this video, but just for right now. That's the golden ratio, and I'll delete this so there's less noise. So we close above the 236. I'm going to start saying, and we do it for 2 days in a row. Even one day, I'll probably start saying that's our low. But if we close above there one day and then we get back below it the next day, I don't know if that would be a good thing. So it's not necessarily that it would be a bad thing, but it would leave things up in the air again. But 2 days in a row above the 236, I would be like, that's validating. We've found our low. We close above here, I would say that's validating. We've found our low, right? Like there's no I think you're crazy if you don't think that we found our low. We close above here on a daily time frame. You are genuinely delusional if you think that that's not our low. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I would look at it. Is there's layers to it, and I always go for that first layer. I don't mind being wrong. A lot of people mind being wrong, so they'll play it safer. Sometimes it's best to play it safer, and Bitcoin's been squirrely, so maybe in this case, maybe it is best to consider the 117.3K area as the area that we need to break. But I think the 236 is good enough. I'm a fib guy. The Fibonacci retracement tool is my bread and butter, and whenever we break above, if we find support at the 382 and we break above the 236, good. If we find support at the 382 and we find resistance at the 236, not good, right? Or good to the downside, good for the bears and people in short positions, right? Speaking of which, if we look at this here on a 30-day period, the shorts are piled high. We got about $20 billion of shorts. That's just across these 3 exchanges. There's plenty of other exchanges that have leverage trading capabilities as well. The shorts have piled on high, my friends. We do have a lot of longs to clear out, about $2 billion, $4 billion if we were to go to 110K. Actually, let's see, 110K would clean us out about $5 billion in longs. That'd be this last kind of great wall of longs here. We would pile on even more shorts, but just because they're here doesn't mean we have to go there, right? I mean, I don't know. We had a higher amount of longs than shorts basically this whole time frame here, and that whole time frame we had lower highs and lower lows, and we only continue to form that. If we go back to just like the basic states of thought, the best time to buy is not at this trend line, but just below it, right? That's the best time to buy. I wouldn't think that means that we go lower. Personally, I don't know. We're even without everything that we've talked about, we're even finding support now on that trend line and closing above it now for 1, 2, 3 on our 4th day in a row potentially. We've got half a day left. A lot can happen. We could absolutely by the end of the day come back down, and that's why things are up in the air. We should look at the short-term time frame before we really get going here, but just talking about what I'd like to see to validate this low first and foremost. Now, getting above this high would definitely be validating to some degree, but I think getting above 116.7K, that's the real area to test. Let's see, low to high here. 116.8K. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then we'll wrap this thing up. We'll go from there. 1 hour time frame does look bullish. Why does it look bullish, C-Zar? I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked. Because we've got a flat top with ascending lows. That's bullish. That's good. Think of it like this, right? You've found resistance here and you went down. You found resistance here and you went down. You found resistance here and you went down, but it was not a lower low. You found resistance here and you went down, but it was not a lower low. You found resistance here, and each time you're getting higher lows. You're doing something different here, right? You're doing something different here than you did here when you went to a lower low. Than you did here when you went to a lower low. You're doing something different here. Might you do something different as a result? That's my thoughts, right? And the answer is yes. We did talk about that. That's my perspective. We did talk about how Bitcoin likes its 786 area, or it's been liking it lately. Remember that? Low to high. We talked about it over here. Maybe it was on this high. Maybe it was on this. I can't remember where it was, but we talked about it, and it literally went right to its 786, right? Shout out to the jokers in the comments. I don't get it, man. Watch this video, and maybe I'll be wrong. Watch, because I'm saying this, I'll be wrong. But yesterday's video and the day before, I feel like the past 3 days, I've been pretty damn pinpoint accurate as to where these areas have been as far as bounces go. I thought that we found our low here, and I was off by $1,000. We went up, and then I was like, okay, that's not the low. We're probably going to go lower, but bounce here, and then we'll see. Or I mean, maybe this is the low, maybe it's not the low. But we talked about this exact area for support. And the jokers in the comments, not all of them, a lot of them actually deleted their comments, but there's a few of them. I just don't understand where people think that I was wrong. Maybe they're hung up on the past and me saying that we would be up higher by the end of July. I don't know. I've been wrong about the timing and stuff, but in the day-to-day short-term stuff, the long-term stuff, it's weird, man, because normally I'm better with the long-term predictions. And I will be right about the long-term price predictions. Not that it matters being right or wrong, but I'm very confident, very convicted in the long-term game. I have a lot of conviction for that. Not that I'm convicted. I have a lot of conviction for that. But in the short term, I feel like I've been right more than I have been for the long-term stuff. I don't know why, but that's just kind of how it's been. And even still, I'm getting hate. Look in the comments. Watch after this video, whenever we come up with our conclusion by the end of this video, watch the jokers in the comments saying, haha, you were wrong. I'm like, what? Or, I feel sorry for this guy. He's always wrong. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I literally gave this low to you and this low to you. And this one was off by $1,000 on a $113,000 asset. Oh no. Not even 1% of a margin of error there. Anyways, you guys. 114.2K. My cat is very needy right now. He keeps bothering me. He keeps coming up. I'm not wearing the right shirt for him to be putting his claws in me, but he keeps doing it. He's like putting his paw up. He's like, hey, pet me. It's Mufasa. I would pick him up and show you guys, but he does not like being picked up. Unless you're a female. He likes being picked up by females. But let's get back to work. I'm dilly-dallying here. Different behavior, different results. Yeah? So we probably move up higher. We look at this from a low to a high. You found support at your 786. Came up, found resistance at your 382, found support at your golden ratio. Now you're grinding that 382. Absolutely, you're going to break out. And this makes me think you're going to break out above this high. That's what my thoughts are. So let's run with that idea. Let's throw a couple of fibs up on here that would help us determine where we go. Okay, first and foremost, high to low here. You can see that we're also being productive on this fib. 382 resistance, 236 support, 0.5 resistance, 236 support. Now we're finding support on the 382. We're going to be ready to go higher. Should be moving up to 115K to 115.3K. And inevitably, again, of course, I do think that we're going to go higher than that. The goal, as it has been for the past 4 days in a row now, is to close above 113K. If we can close above 113K, this being the bottom has prevailed as a possibility, okay, as even a likelihood. But if we close below 113K, well, we're probably going lower, probably, if we close below there. Not if we go below there. We could flash crash down to 112.6 and then rip all the way back up. You know, we could see something like that happen. We've done flash crashes before and then moved up. But then we, you know, as long as we're closing above 113K, everything's fine. 382 support, 16 minutes left in this 1 hour time frame. Let's see how it goes. I would definitely like us to continue to close above this 382. Understand, if we close below 113.8K on a 1 hour time frame, the odds of us going higher from here go down. The odds of us going lower from here go up, and even lower than this low go up as well. Let's leave this on here because I am expecting higher targets than even this high here, right? That's what I'm anticipating. Looking at the indicators, I'm going to delete this real quick. The RSI looks bullish, actually. You've got lower highs and lower lows, and you've broken out of that. You look like you're kind of consolidating here before a next move up. I think that you're going to get it. Maybe you move down a little bit and then you move up, something like that, you know, and that's okay if you do. We just don't want to close below 113.8K. Stochastics look bullish, and the MACD also looks bullish. You're in a position now, well, you're in a rather precarious situation, where you're either going to find resistance at the 0, which would not be good, or you're going to break through, which would be very good, actually. You've just begun forming a green kind of trend on the 1 hour time frame, and the last one that we had was pretty large, right? It lasted for a long time, especially crossing above that 0 there. Crossing above the 0, a little bit larger than this one here. Some of these ones are smaller, but most of these, whenever you cross above the 0, at least sizably above the 0, you get some larger phases in the MACD. And I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, right now, with the RSI and the stochastics looking the way they do, I would think that we do cross above the 0, which on the 1 hour time frame is one of the more powerful signals you get on the MACD. I don't get it, man. There's this guy that I follow, who I'm not going to say, but he uses the MACD and he only looks at the histogram. He doesn't use the oscillators. But man, the oscillators crossing below and above the 0, that's such a powerful signal. You're literally missing one of the best parts. You get bearish divergences, you get bullish divergences with the oscillators. You're missing one of the best parts of the MACD if you take away the oscillators. I don't get it. Like, it's more than just the histogram. I don't know. There's a reason why these numbers exist over here, right? He literally mutes the oscillators, and I'm like, why? Like, what's the purpose of that? That's not going to help you. It's like tying one hand behind your back for no reason at all. Maybe he's showing off. 4 hour time frame. This is what I wanted to get to. I don't know where I'd want to take my fib. Let's see how we're respecting this one, and if not, we'll take the all-time high. Pretty close. I'm going to take the all-time high. Yeah, oh yeah. Look at that. Look, you found support directly at the 069. I remember when we were talking about that as well. You know, coming down here and finding support right there. Isn't that funny? 069 and the 786, those are both areas that we talked about back here as being areas to find support to help validate this as a low. We went down there yesterday, and I was even saying Bitcoin's in free fall and we were going to go down, and I had jokers who 1 hour after I made that video were like, this guy's always wrong, and then they deleted their comments once they went down. There's like 3 of them that left them, but man, it's just funny. Shout out to the homies who came to my aid and were like, hey, good job, made a right call. You know, I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. I've been right before, I'll be right again. It's really not a big deal. I just think it's funny. I'm like, where do these guys get off? Like, what are they just trolling? Do they literally, are they just, they know that they're full of it, or are they literally that low on the comprehensive ability scale where they think that I was wrong? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What does matter is we're probably going to move up. What does matter is we have this shape of like a W here. It's kind of a nice shape, actually, if we can move up higher. Whenever we do move higher, you've got the 382 here, which is at about 116.1K. You've got the 1272 here, which is at 116.5K. Typically, not always, but typically, when you move to the 382, what you'll see is a wick above it, and then you close below it. Might we find resistance at 116.5K? I think we might. And then we could come down, find support at the 886, 786. Let me just show you. So getting above the 382, wicking above it, and finding resistance there, and then closing below is a very common thing to do on the first attempt, this 382. If we delete this so that we're not distracted, it's also very common. It's not that it's common to find resistance at the 1272. It is, but not. It's not that. It's that if you find resistance at the 1272, typically you go back to the 786, 886 area for support, which is also where this prior area of resistance is here. So back test resistance, come back up, right? After you find support somewhere, maybe you go all the way back to your golden ratio down to this 236 area. Maybe that's what you do. You go all the way back down to 114.5K, a little higher than here. And then you come up, you'd likely see prices above 117.6K, maybe even as high as 120.8K. That'd be the next kind of target area to assume. And once we get above 118.7K, we're really starting to think about new all-time highs. Once we get above 116.8K, that's when we validate this as a low. So I don't think that we're going to validate this low with this next move up. We'll move up. We'll probably consolidate, tomorrow, Thursday. And then Friday to end the week, we will either validate this low, validate this low, or invalidate it, or maybe not invalidate it, but leave it open, consolidate over the weekend. I would think that if we can get above 116.8K, we validate this low, and I think that we will do that by the end of Friday. That's my thoughts right now. And again, there are a lot of liquidations to be had to the downside, but the shorts far outweigh the longs, right? 5.7 billion versus basically $10 billion, 9.8 billion in shorts. We're right up against this wall here, man. $114,000 now. All we got to do is move up. We move up $1,000. We've got $300 million in shorts to liquidate. We move up or move down $1,000. If we move down $1,000, guys, we've got like 180 million. So 180 million versus 360 million. It's literally a 2-to-1 difference of money to be had there, at least over the past 7 days. Let's look at the last day. Longs do outweigh the shorts over the past day. So with that being said, perhaps we do go down to 100. I mean, we could go down to like 112.4K. The way that I look at this, and this is not the best way to do an analysis, but if you look at these walls here, like these kind of walls, the lower areas of liquidations are where you normally go, and then you go up, right? Then it builds. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's just what I've seen. So I wouldn't think that we go all the way through to 111.6K. We could even go a little bit lower than that and eat that up, but we could go right to like 112.3K. 112.3. Let's make sense out of that. Let's see if we can make sense out of that real quick. 112.3K. Low to high. That's our 886. Drop right down to the 786, 382, go to your 886, find support, and then move up. I mean, it could happen. It's very possible. It could happen. And we still get that higher low, double bottom kind of look. Bitcoin's been very volatile. Everything that I've said in this video about the upside could very well be true still. But perhaps first, we go down here. You never know. Time will tell. But looking at the 1 hour time frame, I don't know, man. I'm bullish on this stuff. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, there's also bullish things going on. We've been very green for the past certain amount of time here on the 4 hour time frame, though. Maybe we do need to cross red. We don't need to, but maybe. The 4 hour RSI is neutral right now, but overall bearish. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if we went down to 112.3K. This is not me playing both sides of the ball. If we go down to 112.3K, I won't be like, I was right. If we move up from here, we go above here, I'm even not going to be like I was right. But the expectation, at least as of now, is that we will go above this high and we will see prices probably above 116K If not by the end of today, sometime tomorrow. We should be moving up there today, though, I think, up in that area. But if I'm wrong, if we are to go lower, let's just see low to high here. Close the 4-hour time frame below $113.3 thousand. If we close below $113.3 thousand on a 4-hour time frame, then we're going lower. Yeah. Yep. And how much lower? I would think 112.3K sounds about right. 112.3. Clear out those longs over the past day. Get about, that'd be about $750 million in longs. Yeah. Time will tell. But that's all I got for you guys. I don't have anything else. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Okay, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.